Hi everyone, I've had some requests for bow making, so I'm going to do that for you today. First thing I'm going to do is cut a really long piece of wire, because what I like to do is double that. And it's easier to have something too long and cut it than it is to have something too short. So when this is all done, I'd say this is about 15 inches when it's doubled. And then this is just wired ribbon from the dollar store. I don't always use this, but if it's something you don't want to spend a lot of money on, this is pretty good. And you need it to be kind of wide. I generally like wider than this, but for demonstration purposes, I'm going to use these. Now what I'm going to make today is a double layered bow, just because I like the mix of the different colors in it. You can do it with just one color, you just have to make extra loops when you do it because obviously you're not going to have as much. So what I'll do is just kind of let them fall on the ground. And you start by just putting them over top of each other and treating it as one layer, and do a loop and leave a little tail inside. So you can see I have a little tail. So that's where you're going to kind of smash it and hold it. Now you can twist this so the good side's up, but I'm not going to worry about that because when I fluff the bow later, I'm going to do it. I'm going to twist them around then. So then you just kind of make a bunch of loops. And because this is a skinnier one, I'm going to make a smaller loop, but make them even on each side. I like my loops to be close to the same size as I go, maybe a little bit bigger, and you just kind of hold them all in the middle as you go. I'm going to do 3 sets, which would be 6 if I was doing a single layer ribbon. You just keep going back and forth. Now I'm not sure what I'm going to use this one on, probably a wooden sign. So you can see I have, just looks like a fan. And then whatever's left on there, this was a 9-foot roll. I'm going to bring this up, make sure it's smooth and even. And I'm going to bring it up as the last giant loop, and then you leave a little tail under there on this one too. Make sure both of them are even underneath. So you've got your hands full for sure. But you can see I have another little tail there. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. Right here's a little tail. And then all you're going to do is take that doubled wire and stick the loop end through here. It's handy to have pliers when you're doing this because you can't really twist it tight enough yourself to stay. But you loop that through there, make sure it's kind of coming down even. And then I usually just do 1 twist, or 2 by hand, and then I'll take my pliers. You have to be careful because you don't want to tighten it too much that you snap the wire. So hold on to it just in case that happens. And you just twist it so that you know that it's tight enough. You might want to squash it now that it's together and make it a little bit tighter. I'm not a videographer, so I'm very sorry, but you're in my laundry room with me. It was the only place I could find to put my phone. Okay, so now that that's tight, what I'm going to do is take this bottom loop, and that's going to be the tails, and I'm going to make them not quite even. So that's even right now, and I like one side to be a little bit shorter than the other side, so I'm going to take that and I'm going to cut it so that I cut the wires, whoops, sorry, into a V. Some people like them just on a slant, but what that does then is gives you a nice little tail on each one of them. So then you take this bow and you start pulling the layers out, and I'll go opposite. So black, white, white, black. And on these ones, you're going to pull them out. Whoops, I went the other way. And the white's kind of right side up, but the black isn't. So you just kind of turn that inside out, if you will. And then again, make sure you just take your black and your white and flip them every time that you do this. And you can manipulate those, especially if they're wired. It's pretty easy to manipulate all of this. too close to the camera, so sorry. And the same thing for the other side, so just kind of give them a good twist here and there. And once you have it on your project, you can also mess with these a little bit and make them a little bit fluffier or whatever. And then of course you have your tails, and you can twist those however you like them. And that is bow. So hopefully that makes life a little bit easier for you. And like I said, you're going to mess with these once you get it on your project to make sure that the loops are where you like them and sit the way you like them and things like that. And then you can always trim your tails later if you need to. This wire, depending on what I decide to put it on, I might loop it through there and just wrap it around a couple of times just so that I have a little bit more stability. But at this point, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, so I'm going to let it there. I might need it to attach it to something else. So anyhow, I hope that helps you with bows. It's really not that hard. I just don't like to do them if I don't have to. But there you have a bow. Hopefully you can see how pretty that'll look.